Andrew, firstly, how are you enjoying life as a new Irish under-20 head coach?
It's been good. It's been challenging so far, but I'm loving the responsibility of it, loving that I've been given the opportunity to be head coach this year, loving trying to develop an environment of my own and put my own stamp on it with a great group of players while all those challenges are still in place. So I have a really good group around me, which makes things easier with head coach experience and loads of advice on them, so I can lean on it. So far it's been brilliant. Looking forward to what's to come.
It's come full circle. You were a Grand Slam winner yourself with the under-20s in 2007, the likes of Healy, Earls, Felix Jones, some calibre player there.
Yeah,
but it's crazy
keep
how it
going.
works.
Even more. But it seems like a long time ago. 2007. And then I was with myself and Ian Keatley, who was with last year. We used to talk about it because we were both in that team as well, and just how far or how long ago it seems. So to come full circle, to have the opportunity to be head coach, never thought that would be the case back then. And even a couple of years ago when I first started as EPDO in Connacht, I thought something like this was way in the distance. So to have the opportunity now, brilliant.
Must be really proud as well. I know maybe you don't want to get too emotional and sentimental, but it must be really good for your CV, but also brilliant for your family.
Yeah, I am proud. And like I said that to the players as well, they should be proud of themselves. I think as Irish people we get very self-deprecating and you're like, oh no, it's fine. Yeah, I'm proud of myself of what I've done up to this point in my coaching career and doing little bits when I was still playing with Connacht, doing AIL with Galwegians, which is, I think, a brilliant rite of passage for any coach in Ireland, is to experience AIL, and if you can be a head coach in AIL and the challenges that brings, and then moving into the EPDO role in Connacht, being in there for this long, having exposure with the under-20s in 2023 under Richie, so learning a lot under him and the great coaches that were there as well, being in last year up to now as well. So it's been a great journey and something I'm proud of.
You've stolen my notes. Player Development Officer, Connacht, EPO, Galwegians, and then Irish 8th grade moving up. Do you feel you are ready now?
I don't know if you'll ever be fully ready. I put my name forward for this because I wanted it. I felt I would be able to do a good job, and it was putting me completely outside of my comfort zone in certain aspects of it. I think so far so good. You have to ask my other fellow coaches, you have to ask the players as well. I think I'm doing an okay job. Time will only tell how the challenges are going to come in Six Nations, of if there's wins, if there's losses, how I react to that, if there's criticisms that have to come down the road like we would have experienced last year, how I react to them as a head coach as well. So there's still so many questions, but I think up till now, I think it's been pretty good.
What have you learned as an assistant from last year which you think will help you this year?
That is a very good question. I think with the nature of last year, and it was really difficult, and it's not for the lack of anyone putting in 100% effort, it was difficult on anyone. I think it is not getting too high or not getting too low. It's staying neutral no matter what the tournament might come our way. We might have a really good win, that's fine, stay neutral. We might have a really bad loss, stay neutral. How we react, how we review a game, how we frame the next game, and how we frame the tournament as a whole is probably what I'll be chasing, and making sure I'm always keeping those key points forefront of my mind.
And a new coaching group with Kieran Howell and Michael Hodge, what can they bring? Experience,
leadership, head coach experience. So Kieran would have been under-19s head coach for the last 3 or 4 seasons. I would have actually been assistant to Kieran with the under-19s. Michael Hodge is head coach of the Irish schools under-18s. So to have those lads as sounding boards, to lean on them, to ask them questions, even just to delegate and give them stuff that takes stuff off my plate and relieve a little bit of stress, they're there for that. Incredible rugby knowledge, the leadership I would talk to, great communication skills, building relationships with the players, which they already have from being with them in under-18s and under-19s levels. I think that's the real strength of it.
You picked your squad 29. Some difficult decisions. Were you up the last few nights scratching the head?
I'm up every night. Yeah, there's a lot of phone calls, there's a lot of texts, there's a lot of adjustments. So there's so much stuff happening outside of your control. Number one thing is injuries. So there's more than a couple. There's a few lads who are very unlucky to miss out through injury on the squad. And with that said, that's why we named a squad of 29 rather than a squad of 30 or 31. We're taking those lads out. We have to reassess. Even right now, we have to reassess and see what do we have that are coming back from injury. What are some of the time frames around this? There will be players who are not named in this squad who will be coming in training with us as well. And then, as it's a very fluid process, as the tournament goes on, some players might come in, some players might go out. But the 29 we're naming today, I'm really pleased with it.
And some of those 29, Charlie, Darren Maloney, Tom Wood, guys who have played here last year, but also there's Alex and Josh who are playing a year above, so it's a real balance.
It is, and Alex and Josh were two of our performers against Italy the last day. So, and like you mentioned, Derry and Charlie and Tom, who were your young last year, some of our best performers last year. And it's really important for those lads. Those lads would have had a bad experience last year. And I think I would love for them to experience a better Six Nations campaign, to have that little bit of success. Very first meeting I spoke about it because I wanted to address it, but I haven't spoken too much since then because it's a new group and I think we want to create our own path and our own story. But even in that meeting I spoke about last year, Derry spoke about last year, Charlie spoke about last year, and just what they felt and their ambitions for this year as well. So having those lads in is brilliant, and it's also brilliant that they can pass on that little bit of experience they have to the younger lads.
And you've already played a few matches, South Africa before Christmas and then Italy, which you won towards the end, last 10 minutes. How have you felt this squad has reacted to a bit of adversity, but also good wins?
I think they're, I can't say enough about them. Brilliant. Take the South Africa game, for example. We had 3 training sessions, on-field training sessions, before that game was played. So we were going in really raw, really undercooked, and all I was looking for was a performance and see what their mentality was like going into that game. Like the first 3 minutes of that game told you everything I need to know about the team and the way they just ripped into South Africa. It's the same ever since then. So we've only had 4 camps, and then the Italy game was on the back of Camp 4 last Saturday. Again, their mentality going into their game. We've sharpened up a few bits, although the weather probably didn't make it seem like that at times. But how tight this group is, I think, is a really important aspect, because this is a group that would have travelled to South Africa together under 18s. They would have been together under 19s. So they're a real tight-knit squad, and you could see that. You can see that every single day in just how they interact with each other. I think that is one of the big positives of this group.
What type of team is an Andrew Browne team?
Oh God, maybe you should ask them. Ask the players. Again, I'm going to go back to that first meeting. I told them that it would be a demanding environment. I told them it would be a challenging environment. I told them being uncomfortable at times. But one of the massive things I always want is element of enjoyment. You have to enjoy it. You can't have dread coming in to the high performance centre out in Abbottstown. You have to be excited to come in, excited to work, excited to get better, but also have that little bit of fun. I think they're elements that I want to keep at the core.
And you start with France and Perpignan. Doesn't get much easier. But this group last year have beaten them away in under 19s.
They did, yeah, under Kieran. So they had 1 win and 1 loss over there, and it was the first time in a long time that Irish team won away from home in France under 19. So again, they have that experience, they have that pedigree. Going to Perpignan is class. I mean, it is an unbelievable stadium. When the home team play there, I'm sure it's going to be passionate again when France under 20s play there against us. I think it's a brilliant start to the tournament. It's late, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. That's new to all these players as well. But they've adapted to everything so far. I've no issues with that.
And obviously you played professional rugby with Connacht for a long time, so you can pass on, yes, your coaching knowledge, but your playing knowledge in these difficult environments.
I feed off the passion. France definitely feed off the passion. I've played in Biarritz, I've played in Bayonne. Some of the best memories of my rugby career are playing away in France, because you're a hostile crowd, they're on top of you, they're loud, they're hissing, they're booing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Just feed off it, absorb it. It was even under 19s. It was 3 years ago even now, when I was over there coaching them, and we played in a small little town called Cahors, and it was a tribal atmosphere. And we ended up losing, but for the first 60 minutes of that, we just fed off that atmosphere, and the boys loved it. And I hope that they remember that day, and I would like for the 20s to do the same in Perpignan.
And then back at home, Virgin Media Park and Cork, they're going to be good as well, those matches.
They always are. In Cork last year, it was my first experience of being a coach and coaching in Cork. Selling out every game, they have done for a number of years. I mean, it's a brilliant place to play. The people of Cork, and it's not just Cork, but people from around the country who are coming to support us. It creates such a brilliant atmosphere. So it'll be important as well, see how France goes, see how we regroup after a win or a loss, hopefully a win, go into that week and hopefully have a really good first game at home.
After last year's disappointment with the 20s, there's a bit of pressure, not expectation, but real belief to go on and make it a good campaign for the public as well, so we enjoy watching Irish rugby again at that level.
Yeah, probably. I haven't thought about pressure. It's not the word I put on it. Desire. There's a real desire to do it, and that's speaking on behalf of some of the players that experienced it last year as well, but also, like you said, for the fans, to give them something to cheer about, because the France and England games that were at home last year, there wasn't a huge pile in there that they could get behind. So it's important that we can, early on in those games, Italy, Wales, Scotland, that we can give them something early to cheer about. I think the South Africa game, as I mentioned before, was a really good example of that. The dominant tackles we had in the first 5 minutes, it really set the tone, and that's something the players would have talked about setting the tone. So if we can have that early on in the game, I think it'll go a long way to getting the crowd into it.
And I know coaches and players are all one game focused now, but have you spoke to lads about the group in 2023 lifting the Grand Slam and trying to be and write their own memories?
Very simply, no. I haven't spoken about that. And it is cliche, I'm going to say it is one game at a time. I've only addressed France for the first time before the game in UCD against Italy last day, and that was only to say this game is 3 weeks away, so it'll come upon us quicker than we think. We're training next week in a camp. We have a 4-day camp. My focus will be solely on that, and I know it's boring to say, and it's what every coach says, but it is strictly that. And then after that, then I will think about how I'm going to frame France, how I'm going to frame the Six Nations as a whole, but that stuff takes energy, and I don't have enough energy to concentrate on too many things at a time.
Last couple, we've seen obviously great players like Sam Prendergast, Brian Gleeson, Gus McCarthy come through the 20s. That's what is so good about, yes, trying to win these matches in the championship, but also saying to the guys, you can be those players one day.
That's the ambition, really. Like if you're in an Irish under-20 squad, you would hope that all of them have ambition to go on and play professionally. You talk about Glees, Sam Prendo, Gus, they were all in that 23 team that got to the World Cup final, which I had the honour of being there for that as well. That was an incredible team. If we can get that calibre player out of this, and I firmly believe there is that calibre player in this group, well, that's the overall goal and ambition. I think, just speaking there not too long ago, the 20s is about development, and it is about developing these lads to go on and play professional rugby for their provinces, for their country, but it's also about performance. So it's balancing those two things. So you still want performance, you want to get results, while also preparing these lads for, hopefully, a life in professional rugby.
Finally, very early days, but do you believe in a couple of months' time this group could be lifting that trophy in the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have belief. Like, I believe it. I have to instill the belief in the players. They're good enough from what I've seen in training. They're good enough from what I've seen in matches so far. I think there's still so much growth in this group. There's a caveat with that you don't know what these other teams are going to show. We have very little footage of all the other teams, so they could have really good years. There's a little bit of knowledge from what they've done from under 18s and under 19s, but by the same token, from what this group has done from under 18s and 19s, full belief that they could do something special.
Brilliant, Andrew, and all the best in your Euro.
Thank you very much.